Hi guys, Josh here with Wired Watt Smart. Today's guest is Brad Chandler. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time, almost 10 years, I'd say. We've done quite a few construction projects together, and he's one of the key people that has kind of gotten me into the little bit of real estate that I have dabbled with. So we're just going to kind of pick his brain today, and we're just going to talk about some rotten electrical jobs we've seen along the way, and we're going to talk about real estate investing, which is a topic that is really exciting and interesting to me and Brad both. So I'm going to let Brad introduce himself.
So I'm Brad. I've been, let's see, how long have I been? It's probably been, 15 years since I bought my first property, and then probably 13 since I started kind of trying to figure out how this works. So,
Yeah.
And then I'm a realtor here also. That's how I ended up being a realtor, actually, is I tried investing first, and then I didn't like working with realtors. I thought a lot of them were difficult to work with, and I was like, I'll get my license and do this myself. This can't be that hard. And then, then I transitioned to just being a realtor from selling radio commercials, and then now I've got a team. And
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about that. So when we originally met in the BNI group.
Yep.
And you were selling radio ads at that time, right?
Yeah, I sold radio ads, and then I got my first real estate investment project that was a nightmare. Well, and then even you did the panel. It had those the screw-in fuses. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and you did that, and that was my first one, and it was horrible. Everything on the planet went wrong. It took 2 years because I kept running out of money, and not because you don't know what you're doing the first time.
Absolutely.
And like everything went wrong on the planet. And I limped through, I got it done. I got it. It was supposed to be a flip, but after 2 years, I don't think it's considered a flip anymore. And I actually made it a rental.
Was that the one on North Weenas?
North Weenas, yeah. And
Yep.
that you should actually interview my son on that. His because he was like 12, and he would be like, "You wrecked my life because of this house. I hate working on this stupid house." And I was like,
Yeah.
No one's happy.
Yeah, that's the one you guys had to dig out the crawl space, right?
Yeah, that's his very fond memory of how much we had to cut holes through the floor because the joists were rotting because the dirt was all the way up to the floor.
Yep.
And so we would cut holes in the floor. I'd dig it. And then the problem was the front door was too narrow for the wheelbarrow to come in the house. So you had to put it into buckets. Then he'd take a bucket and dump it in the wheelbarrow and then haul it away. And he was just so mad that was. And so we did the first hole because I cut the holes 4x8 so I could just put a piece of plywood back over it the right size. He's like, "Oh, we're done?" And I was like, "Oh no, we're cutting one of these holes in every room. We're done with the first room. We're going to be here all weekend." Like, you thought we were done by lunchtime, buddy. We're going to be here all day.
Yeah. So you got that one. It took you 2 years to kind of get that project wrapped up. And then so you rented that first one?
So I
rented
that one. And then what I did was, so I had a HELOC on my house. That's how I afforded the repairs. I borrowed the money to buy it. Then I had a HELOC on my house to afford the repairs. Then I got a HELOC on that one plus my house to go get another one, which, I mean, it was such a nightmare. So it's good I'm not very smart. So I was like, I'm going to try this again. Like, that was horrible, but I bet I can do better. And I'll never forget. I found another one. So it's in Sela, and was like, I remember being on the phone with a friend when I bought it, and I was like, worst case scenario, this takes me 12 months and costs $70,000. And there's no way. I'm so much smarter this time. I won't screw this up that bad.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, it cost basically exactly $70,000 and took 12 months. Like, so, I mean, I guess I was good. I knew that I guessed my worst case correctly. And, but I mean, that one had it flooded because the pipe broke in the winter because I forgot to turn off the water. It had, same thing, but I got done and was like, wow, I did 50% better. Like, it was still really bad.
Yeah.
But it was 50% better. So then, this same thing. So then I got my house. I had that one. I had the first one and the second one. And I got HELOCs of both of them. So now I had 3 to go start. And it got I think the next one, a guy hired me to flip one for him. That was the first ones were all nightmares. but then I got where I could do it in 6 months, and I was like, okay, this is like a manageable number. I know what I'm doing. I'm not, because the first one, what happened was I'd run out of money, so I'd have to wait till I built up savings and then go buy materials, and then I'd go, and then I actually got I talked Ideal Lumber and Toppenish finally into giving me a line of credit when they probably shouldn't have, but I was selling their ads. I was like, hey, can I this is going to take me forever. If every time I save $2,000, I can go buy, 8 pieces of sheetrock and come do it.
So during the process of these first handful of properties, these first 3 or 4 properties, you weren't even a realtor yet.
No, I got licensed halfway through the first one.
Okay.
Because I wanted to go look at stuff and they were kind of a pain. And then when I bought my house, I didn't feel like my realtor was very helpful. She's moved, so she won't hear this. And then I just felt like guys, I want to go look at these when I want to go look at them. I don't want to.
Yeah.
You guys aren't very helpful. And then when I'd have lending questions, I felt like a lot of them didn't really understand anything about lending. To help me figure out how it worked, and that I was I'm figuring this all out on myself. What am I paying you to do?
Right.
So I was licensed by the time I bought my second one because instead of getting paid a realtor commission, I just lowered the price on it. And then did it that way.
Yeah.
So after that I was.
So what does it take? That's one of the questions I was going to ask you. So what does it take if you want to become a licensed realtor? Like, what does that process look like?
It's a 90-hour dreadfully dull class. And when you're done with it, none of it's helpful to being an actual realtor. So you get done because it's all on just like the law. It's all on laws and like how to not be racist. Those are like the two. And so hopefully you can not be racist on your own, and you don't need a class for that because that's the longest section, I'm pretty sure. And
this is just like an online course.
Yeah, it's 90 hours. It's online. It's just not helpful for what you actually have to do when you're done. Like, there's no part of it that covers like how to read the forms, even like what is you don't look. It's very strange because it's not. You get done with this class and then you're like, oh, I didn't need any of that. Like,
interesting.
I mean, some of the laws are like good things to know, but they never cover like how to read a contract, which is a weird thing that you're like, that's what people get sued over. What all the problems are is understanding the contract. So it's strange to me. It's not a very helpful class, but that's what you do. And then you can, after you've been an agent for full time for 2 years, you can go get your managing broker's license, which is what I have now. And then you can run an office, you can run a team.
Gotcha.
So it's a next level.
So you got to have another cert in order to kind of have your own realtor firm and your own team.
Own office or own team. Yeah, it's a different license. And then you can manage other realtors.
Okay.
And that's a dreadfully difficult test and class. But
that's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do if you want to have a team and stuff, is they expect you to have a better understanding of those laws. Because at that point, you are the person. When you first get your license, no one's going to come to you for real estate law questions.
Right.
You're going to go get your managing broker and go, hey, versus when you become the managing broker, you are expected to know a lot more things.
So for the people who might not know, and I'm kind of curious on the definition of this too, is like when you refer to your team, like what does that mean per se? Like you have some people that work under you or with you alongside of you?
There's 5 agents and 2 admin. And so they, they're licensed agents. They don't have managing brokers licenses. And they, because what happened was I was getting so busy that I couldn't.
You couldn't follow up on all the leads.
Everybody. There's too many people. And then what had happened too is I had developed, I had it really systematized. Like I could, this is, and I have an amazing assistant, Cassie, that runs it all. But, it was just the 2 of us and our transaction coordinator that does your paperwork. So the 3 of us, like, we got it down to a nice system. And because it was funny, I didn't want a team at first. I was like, man, I don't want to be in charge of other people. Like, I just like being in charge of myself. But then I started getting busier. I was like, I'm not actually, like, we could do more if I could give stuff to people. Like, I'm just have a lot going on. So I went and got the license so I could do it. I talked to Cassie. We kind of created, what this was going to look like. So then Alyssa was our first team member. And so I helped them get their leads. I answer their questions, like if they have a problem, like when I called you yesterday and was like, or I text you the other night, like, hey, I think, call Josh. He's going to know. I
Yeah.
text Josh today. So I help them do their lead generation. We put on events that I pay for. I cover all their licensing fees. I help them, work their databases. I give them leads. They're expected to get their own too. And then realtors have a split with their office and then a split, where they pay a flat fee or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of different ways.
There's a lot of ways it works.
There's a lot of ways
to structure the
They have a
finance piece.
split with me.
Right.
And so that they pay a split to me and I take care of all that for them.
Right on. So you're providing not only mentorship, but you're providing like some marketing and some of the different events, like the events you put on in the community. Like that's all those things are kind of
all their transactions. So I do all their so they have to put the house, either whether it's a buyer or seller, they have to put it under contract. But after that, we do all the paperwork for them. So there's someone on the team who you just send her an email, hey, I need this, and they send it out.
So if you have a guy or if you have a team member that's just an awesome salesperson and all they want to do is sell and they don't want to handle the admin side, that's where you come in. Like you handle the details behind the scenes to kind of close the
and
deals.
I plug them into systems. And so like when you're on a team, it's so realtors have splits like we're talking about, and being on a team, your split's a little bit higher, but it's always important to remember it's not just what your split is, it's what you're getting for your split. Whereas, some places might have better splits, but they don't give you anything.
Right.
Versus like we have a higher split, but like, I mean, I'm going to take care of a lot of stuff for you that maybe other teams don't take care of. So, if you're becoming a realtor, make sure it's not, a lot of places will sell you like, hey, this is the best split, but it's like, what am I getting for that?
Because, like what kind of marketing material are you getting? Like there's probably a lot of different things you can get with these.
There is
with these relationships, right?
There is, and some of them are like you get nothing, and you're like, well, yeah, your split's better, but they're not helping you with anything.
Right.
Like, they're providing you a cubicle to sit at, and that's it, and you go figure it out yourself. And so we try to, really take care of everything for people where you can just go sell houses and you're not going to be bogged down. It was actually really cool because every member of the team that's an agent last year made more money than they'd ever made before as an agent. So it's cool when I was like, this is working. Dude, that's all of you did it.
Yeah. And that's got to feel good for you too, right?
It is. It's really cool when it was cool because we got Alyssa was our proof of concept. She's like, because you don't know. I'm like, this could be a bad idea. And she was like, I'll try. And you're like, okay. And it went really well. And I was like, okay, that works.
Yeah.
So then when Eduardo joined the team, both of them within 3 months had the best month they'd ever had in their life. And I was like, this is really working.
Yeah.
And so then Anne-Marie joined the team and she did the same thing. I was like, okay, we're 3 for 3. This is really working.
Yeah.
So then my son's licensed and he does admin work. And then Tiana's licensed and she does transaction coordination. Those are the other 2 agents. But it's been cool that the 3, actually Tiana did too. So all 4 of them had their best year ever, which is really cool to see like, oh, this really works because there's a lot. It's not just like showing houses is such a small part of it that we try to take out all the sticking points and the difficulty and the, like on our team, for example, we, for the agents, we, like my son will schedule your inspection for you. He goes to the inspection. He lets the inspector in. So you don't have to, that takes 2 hours of your day to go sit there. And that's probably not the best use of your time.
Absolutely.
To go do that. So we do a lot of things like that.
And that's
houses.
And that's got to be a way that you're kind of bringing value to your customers and setting yourself apart from your competitors per se, right? Like if you're handling some of those details for your clients and saving them time, energy, like there has to be that's a huge value add.
That's kind of our concierge type of like, hey, we're just going to take care of everything.
Yeah.
I just need you to DocuSign some stuff for me here and there. And like, we'll check in with you. And then you also it's not just one person looking out for you. It's your agent. It's Cassie, it's Clayton, it's Tiana. That we create a file so everyone knows what's going on there. So you have a bunch of people watching out for you and checking on you and making sure, so now you got 4 or 5 people just checking to make sure all the things happen. And
I like
I
that.
think it makes it go a lot smoother for people. I think a lot of people, and because we're able to do things, and we've partnered with some contractors and stuff, that sometimes if people need stuff, you get like, it's a common one, like you get a little old lady selling a house, maybe she owns it free and clear, but she needs all new flooring and she doesn't have money to pay for flooring, but like your house isn't going to sell.
Yeah.
So like we've partnered with like UBG, where sometimes he's like, hey, I'll paint it for you and you just pay me at closing.
Yeah.
He turns it in at closing.
Yep.
So that, we can make it a lot easier for people to do those things too.
Yeah. I think I've done a couple
we've
of,
done it with you.
yeah, I've done a couple deals like that with you, where it's like, hey, they got to have the panel changed for closing, for financing, blah, blah, blah. As soon as it closes,
Yeah.
we'll get you paid. And yeah, we've done that.
Yeah. And so it's been nice that we can,
Yeah.
so that's other things we've started to add value to, of like, hey, we've got people we work with that trust us, that if we've determined that like, hey, they're going to pay you. And actually what we started doing is just turning the bill into title. Like, hey, when this closes,
pay these guys.
the title company is going to send you a check. You don't even have to worry about if the person's going to pay you. So that's been something that's really kind of helped us.
And that's kind of, like that right there is such a value adder, because you have these relationships with these contractors, and that's kind of out of your personal contacts, right? And so by bringing that to the deal, you're helping people close deals.
Well, it's helped a lot. It's really been interesting to see how the flipping and the investments, it kind of creates an ecosystem where you're working with all the same people all the time.
Yeah.
You're helping people buy and sell. People do call like, hey, I inherited this house and my mom was a hoarder, and I, for the love of God, do not want to deal with this. Like, will you just come buy it? Or we bought one last year that this person inherited a house, then the tenant decided to stop paying rent and was screwing it up. And she's like, I don't want to deal with evicting them. Like, so we bought it with the tenant in it.
Yeah.
And I have to tell people like, hey, I'm not paying you a lot, because I have to assume I have to gut the house, because I can smell it from the outside. And, and so I'm going to guess that this is getting gutted, but if you don't want to deal with, cause it's going to take you 3, 4, 5, 6 months by the time you evict somebody and pay $7,000, $10,000 for that, like for her, it's like how much more are you even going to get for it once somebody can look inside?
Right.
So we've created a lot of value, and that kind of helps. It's been interesting. It just creates kind of an ecosystem where it all supports each other, and then we can do more for clients because we work more with contractors that know more about us.
Yeah.
And then I think it's, one of the things too, when you're hiring an agent that people don't think about is a lot of agents don't know very much about houses. And it's shocking sometimes where you're like, GFCIs is the most common thing ever called on an inspection.
Yes.
If you don't know that the GFCIs just have to be in line and you just have to do the first one, or that the GFCI could be in the panel, like I don't even have to read an inspection. It's probably going to have a GFCI issue somewhere in it, especially any older house, for sure. It's going to. So this has helped our, me and the team, because we're dealing with these, that we know, more about the process and what's going on. Well, it's just like when I text you the other night, I was like, listen, that's not how GFCIs work. And I text you and you're like, yeah, that's not how GFCIs work.
Absolutely. So with home inspectors, so you guys work closely with a handful of different, not electrical inspectors, but home inspectors.
Home inspectors,
right?
yeah.
And so, what does that look like, when you get a devastating report, right? Like you get a devastating report that calls out, let's say thousands and thousands of dollars for electrical. Like, what does that do? Because I've touched on that in one of our previous episodes. But how can a terrible electrical system or a very old electrical system affect the financing process of buying a house?
So whether it's electrical or anything else, because people get nervous, and the inspection is the number one time a transaction will fall through, is big things are easier to get fixed than little things. So if if the trim around the door is missing, like most people aren't going to fix that. They're going to be like, go fix that yourself.
Yeah.
But if it's got like, what are the screw-in fuses called for panels?
Yeah, there's a screw-in fuses.
If it has that, everyone's going to ask to get that fixed.
Right.
Like, it's not like, and in fact, your realtor did you a disservice by not telling the person, like, hey, there's no world this is getting through with the insurance agent or the appraiser or anyone. Some of the other stuff might get through. This is not getting through. You need to fix it. Or if, I mean, those aren't that common, but if you get a big list of, say, weird electrical stuff, you got a couple fold. You got to keep your client calm about it. And then I think also really evaluate the issue of actually, it's a very common problem, the thing I texted you about the other day. Old houses don't have grounds.
Yeah.
That's how the wiring works. You do not need to wire the whole house because that's just the way they built houses then.
Yeah.
And some people freak out about that, and to be like, oh no, you're good. Old houses don't have grounds. We don't. And then being aware, and this isn't just for electricians, this would be for any contractor that people hire, but electricians, this would definitely apply to as well. Twofold. One, make sure you're asking the person the right question, and then make sure you're hiring somebody that's not just trying to charge you the most, because if you say like, hey, I want to get rid of, what do I have to do? I need a bid to get rid of all of these ungrounded outlets. Well, that's rewire the whole house.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's going to be $40,000 or I don't know, whatever it is.
It's going to be astronomical. Right.
And it's not practical because you'd have to, you're going to rip out all the sheetrock, or they're going to have to go underneath it and fish it up and down. And if it's just that old Romex, it's the Romex, right? That's got the two.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have like knob and tube wiring, and then you have the old, we call it snakeskin Romex.
Yeah.
So it's, it's kind of silvery looking, and it's ungrounded. It's too,
but so you need to make sure you're talking to, say, an electrician that knows, like, hey, you don't have to rewire this whole house. We can get rid of some of the knob and tube in the attic and be done. And we don't have to, we can put GFCIs on that. That's not so making sure that you're asking the right question, because if you ask the question, I need to get rid of all these ungrounded outlets, what do I do? The answer is you have to rewire the whole house, but that's probably not what you actually need. What you actually need is someone to explain it to somebody that hey, these are ungrounded.
Yeah, exactly. And what I typically recommend in that situation is, because, like you said, I mean, a lot of times it's not feasible to rewire the whole house, right?
Yeah.
And so, you can use ground fault breakers or arc fault breakers, or a combination of both in the panel to protect those old circuits.
Well,
right?
and you can put them in the panel too now.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but what I tell people is, it's like, hey, this old wiring, it's, if you can afford to replace it, I recommend to replace it. When that's not the case, I recommend putting some dedicated circuits into the areas that are high usage, right? Like the kitchen countertops, the refrigerator, the microwave, the stuff where you're pulling more
a lot
amps.
more.
Yeah, versus like in a bedroom where it's just a basic
a lamp and a phone charger.
Right. So I mean, there are ways around it. I mean, I recommend getting rid of that old stuff when you can, but it starts with the panel, right?
Yeah.
Updating that, making sure you have a decent grounding system, just get it as safe as you can.
Exactly. And that's the part that I think, again, some realtors don't always understand. They're like, hey, that's not, but make sure there's a lot of, and it's contractors in general. Be careful who you're asking, because there's some out there that are like, you asked to make everything. Yeah, it's $20,000 or $50,000 or whatever. And the person's freaking out, and you're like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Let's run one dedicated circuit. Let's put new breaker. You're going to have to replace the panel, but that will solve 97% of your problems.
Absolutely.
And to understand the difference in that versus, and then that's where too, but having a good list of contractors you use, whether, like I said, electricians or whatever, we're like, okay, we know. And I think if you're hiring a realtor, you should, we work with enough contractors, they should have some people that they can recommend to you in any of the trades. Because if they don't, you'd almost want, what are you doing then? You just, it's a crapshoot. You just pray for a miracle.
Yeah, exactly. And, I've used realtors in the past and dealt with realtors in the past where, it's like, you kind of made the comment earlier. It's like, well, what are you doing for your money? What am I paying? If you don't have, the right advice, or you don't have somebody that can help out with the lending, or if you just don't know what you're doing,
to solve basic problems.
Yeah.
See, it's obviously, sometimes we get problems where you're like, good question. I don't know. I'm going to call you back because that's a weird one, but you should know, GFCI should never be an issue. It's the most common thing in the whole world. Any old house, There's going to be GFCIs that either aren't there or don't work. So you should be able to work through that.
Yeah, and you would say that's one of the most common things called on these
GFCI on any older home,
Yeah.
either missing or not working GFCIs.
Yep.
Is like, and then like I said, knowing that like, because sometimes in a house, right, you only need one GFCI in the kitchen because the bathroom's on the same line,
Right.
And like, I've gone rounds with realtors before where I'm like, the electrician, well, they didn't put him in the bathroom, and you're like, because the bathroom backs up to the kitchen and he put it in the kitchen, and
so it's good.
You're good. And they're like, no, we said the bathroom. And you're like, I don't know how to help you understand that if we put another one in the bathroom, it will make no difference. And I've had to do it where like, and you call and you're like, hey, can you just put one in the bathroom? Why? Because they're hung up that we didn't put one in the bathroom. And I'm trying to explain how electricity works. And this is not like, and I'm not an electrician either, but I know you don't need that. And I'm done explaining it to them. So, you know, how much does it cost to put one GFCI in the bathroom so that everybody can be, you know, feel like it's, because your realtor should know those basic things, you know, servicing your furnace is a common one. Like people don't do it. Like nobody services their furnace like they should.
Yeah. I'm probably guilty of that.
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah. I forgot, you know, some stuff like that. But from an electrical standpoint, it'd be ungrounded outlets, GFCIs missing or don't work. You know, if it's really old, then you run into panel stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, your realtor should have been doing this long enough that like, you don't need to be an electrician to know like you shouldn't have screw-in fuses.
Right.
You know, you should, it's not hard to know, like just have an idea like, hey, this one might be too old on some of these that, because you can also save the hassle and, like do it ahead of time, like before you list it, right? Go, hey, this panel, you know what, instead of dealing with this at the inspection and someone backing out potentially, there's 100% chance they're going to ask for this. Let's just do it right now. Yeah. Because they're going to ask, because some people you don't get another chance with them, right? Like they come in, they go, you get the wrong inspector and the wrong realtor. You get an alarmist inspector and alarmist realtor that goes, you know, this is the end of the world. And it's like, hey, you should have paid $3,500 and just replaced the panel. You knew they were going to ask. I told you they were going to ask. Right. And instead of them asking, and because the people will tell you like, well, I'll just wait till they ask. You're like, yeah, but some of them won't ask. Yeah. They'll just back out.
They'll just leave.
And you're like, and then you're on the phone going, no, we'll do it. It's fine. We have the bid. I can get them there next week. Like, and they're like, you know, because understandably so, electrical stuff and plumbing stuff scares people sometimes, like because your wiring's wrong and you can burn your house down. Right. You know, that's
you get the plumbing wrong and you flood your house.
Yeah, you flood your house, and also like those are two things that like some people, especially if you get people who like had a bad experience with before, maybe they had a house catch on fire. Well, now anything electrical to the end of time, they're going to be
vigilant about it.
Absolutely. And same with, you know, if people have had, I'm very vigilant on plumbing stuff because I had a house flood and I was like, this was a nightmare that I could have avoided. So I try to, you know, just in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to make sure, you know, my plumbing looks good.
No, that makes sense. So when you got your license, you started selling some homes, you're flipping homes kind of at the same time. Like at what point did you kind of decide to go a little more aggressive into the investing side of things?
So what happened was I was doing like one a year, and then I got where I didn't do any of the work. Like one of my goals was like, I want to stop doing the work myself. Like this is actually becoming not cost effective. Like the savings you're getting, like just go sell another house and pay someone to do it and be done. So I got where I wasn't doing the work myself for a couple. I was like, okay, this is way better because it's hard to go work all day. Or the problem would come like one time I was painting a house and someone's like, hey, can I see this house right now? And I'm like, I just got the sprayer out. Like, yeah, I'll be there in a minute, but I'm covered in paint. Yeah. And they're like, sure, we don't. And they're like, oh, you weren't joking. And I was like, no. And I really like need to not be showing you this house right now. Like, I need to be painting a house because like I only have the sprayer for the weekend. I remember thinking like, and it's free, but if for Monday I have to start paying for it. So, so what happened was I had an awesome coach when I started real estate named Lisa Angel, who really got me like started as a realtor and kind of got me with how that worked. And so one day so like I said, I'd done a couple of these. She moved to California and she said, hey, I got this guy. His name's Uriel. He was a past client. I actually think you two would get along. He's looking for a rental property. I've sold him like one a couple years ago. I think you two would get along. And I said, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So we went and looked at a couple of houses. I helped him buy a rental. We started to be friends. I was like, oh, we are a lot alike. Like, I get why you referred him to me. And he was even like, Brad, I appreciate you. Like, you will negotiate really hard on these with people. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of like, I'll write low offers. I mean, I got yelled at. I got a nasty text this morning. Like, are you kidding me? You think I'm like, present it to your client? Like,
yeah, you wrote some low offers for me, and you preface that with, well, I'm not afraid to write a low offer
because they take them.
Yeah,
they take them,
yeah.
and then you're like, because sometimes it happens without. They're like, my client will never take this. How stupid do you think? And you're like, just present it. And then all of a sudden I get a text back. It's in your email. I was like, oh, it wasn't that low, huh? Because the funny part too is with agents is like, we have software where I can look up like what your client owes, how long they've owed on it. Are they current on their payments? Who's their lender? So sometimes I know things that I'm like, I know more about this property than probably you do, because I don't think your client told you.
Yeah.
Because that's part of how we find them is some of these other programs we use. Yeah, sometimes I know things you don't know. Like, I know your client owns it free and clear. I know they inherited it. I know that like it's been sitting forever at this price. So he might be willing to be willing
to take a lower offer.
Yeah. And it might be you because sometimes the realtor's got it's called buying a listing. You say it's worth 250. I'm like, oh, Josh, it's worth 300. Because you're like, oh, well, I'll list it with you. Then you said a higher number.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's not how this works. Someone has to pay you that amount. So I met him. I helped him buy a couple rentals. So then I get it. This whole house was crazy. I get a call about, I'm helping a guy buy a house. He's like, I have a house to sell. He was kind of a strange dude. And he was this is a wild story. He's paralyzed.
Okay.
But he doesn't have a wheelchair. And he's like, and I felt so bad. I was like, I think maybe I should go buy him. Like, how much does a wheelchair cost? Like, I feel so bad, but he's got this trust. So his wife looks at the house and I've only talked to this guy on the phone. And then he goes, I have a house to sell also. And I was like, oh, great. I can help you with that. I'm still like, in my mind, I'm just a realtor. He goes, well, it's really beat up. Like, it's going to have to go to a flipper or a cash thing. I was like, not a problem. I do that. I was like, can I go look at it? Josh, it's shoulder deep in junk with pathways through it.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to swear on this?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. There's some weird things that happens in this story. There's a mattress soaked in blood. Like, a lot of blood. Not like more blood than most people have seen. And like, you'd think someone died. There's so much blood on this mattress that you're like, oh. And he is weird as shit when I meet him in person. And he stays in this chair and he keeps telling me how he's paralyzed and how his life is horrible, but he has this trust, which when he's buying this other house, I'm like, okay, I need proof of funds. Like, how are you going to pay for this?
Yeah.
And I get an email from an attorney. Hey, I'm the manager of so-and-so's trust. He has access to those funds to buy this house. I'm like, that's weird. Like, I've never gotten an email from an attorney for proof of funds. So,
but it was legit.
It was legit. And so like, and it's my friend's house we're selling. And I was like, hey, this all seems legit, but I'm just going to be honest with you. It's weird.
Yeah.
And this guy is weird. Everything about this is weird. But like, I Googled the attorney's office. It's a real attorney's office. This is their like, but it's weird. So, and again, I'm like, well, if you have a trust, how do you not have a wheelchair? But then again, I'm like, there's so much junk in this house. Maybe like you don't have one because you can't get around. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he buys the house. Oh, so I call Uriel because this house is so bad. I've never had a project this bad, but it's so cheap. I can't not buy. Like, I already put it under contract. Like, I'm buying this house.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to deal with
but there's so much shit in it.
It's just, shoulder
so
deep.
It's like hoarder house to the max.
Yeah. And it's like 1,800 square feet of shoulder deep.
Yeah.
But then it's weird too, because there's like 4 brand new weed eaters in the box in the basement. And you're like, why do you have this? Like, he would buy things, or somebody was like new things, and just pile them in.
Interesting.
So whatever. So we get done. We sell him the house. Oh, so I call Uriel and I'm like, hey, this house is too big of a project. Do you want to partner with me on this? And he's like, well, can I see it first? And I was like, yeah, he'll let us see it.
Yeah.
And he's like, Brad, that guy's weird. And I was like, I know, but and he has a big beard, black beard and long hair. It's relevant later. So Uriel looks at it. He's like, yeah, I'll partner with you. Cause I was like, cause he's a contractor. Like this is too big. I can't manage this.
Yeah.
And it's going to be too expensive by the time I'm done. It's still a good deal. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to figure out how to do this, but I'll figure it out if he doesn't do it. So he agrees. We get the guy moved out. We're like in this house, and he's like, Brad, we're going to find some weird shit in here. And I was like, Uriel, I guarantee you we're going to find some weird shit in here. And we get it. I'll find the picture and send it to you. His guy sends him a text like the third day we're there and goes, it looks bigger in person than it does in the picture. And it is the biggest dildo you've seen. Like, it's this big in the picture. And we're like, it looks bigger in person. That looks like there's a shoe next to it and it's bigger than a shoe. And you're like, and there's a bunch of them. And you're like, how is it bigger in person? That looks giant in the picture. Like, Jesus. Why is there so many of them too? Like there's 5 or 6 of them.
So they were just
in the basement.
a collection of dildos.
Collection of the biggest dildos you've ever seen in your life.
But this is a gentleman that was in a wheelchair.
He has a wife. Oh, so I go to give him the keys to his new house. I knock on the door. And I knock again. I'm like, fuck, I hope his wife's home. Like maybe I should just go in because he's paralyzed. He's told me he's paralyzed multiple times. And the door opens and he's standing there. And I'm like, and I give him the key. I'm like, hey, congratulations. And he goes, thanks. And he turns around and he walks away. And I'm like,
so he just made up a story.
He just made up a story. Like he's dead. Like he's walking. So I call Uriel. I'm like, Uriel, he can walk. He goes, what are you talking about? He told us like 5 times. I was like, part of the deal when we bought him a house was we built him a ramp so that he could get a wheelchair to the house he was buying. Like, I was like, I don't know, but he can walk. I saw him. And so Uriel laughs and goes, I think you just witnessed a miracle. So the house he bought is next door to a realtor I know.
Yeah.
So we're cleaning out the house. It's getting done. And Uriel calls me and he goes, Brown, do you know Mexicans are superstitious? And I said, yeah, why? And he goes, okay, because what I'm going to tell you is going to sound crazy, but this is what happened today. He goes, all the employees left the house on third and are refusing to work because there's a ghost. And I was like, what are you talking about? A bunch of framers left a house because there's a ghost and they're refusing to go back. And he goes, Brad, that's not the weird part. And I said, what? And he goes, they described the guy we bought it from. I'm like, and none of them have met him. And I said, so a group of 5 adult men decided they are not working anymore until the ghost problem is handled. And he's like, yeah, so it's Friday. So I'm just going to hope by Monday the ghost is gone. Cause like, I don't know. He goes, but it was really weird that they all described what he looked like. And the ghost was where he was sitting in the chair when we were there. I was like, that is kind of a trip. So then like a week later, I bump into the realtor. Oh, I get a call from the realtor that's the neighbor where the guy moved to.
Yeah.
He goes, Brad, you're not going to believe this. And I said, what? He goes, a week after you sold that guy the house, he died. And I was like, are you kidding me? And he goes, no, he died like a week after you moved in. And I was like, oh, that's really crazy. I called me. I was like, I'm not really into superstitious ghost stuff, but here's something to add to it. He's dead. And he's like, are you kidding me? And I was like, no, I know the neighbor. He's dead. I was like, Jesus.
That's wild.
It was. I was like, how is this even, like the fact that he said like they described, because he was tall and he had his big beard. Like, And where they described the ghost was exactly where he'd been sitting.
And all the framers were like,
yeah, and he got a bunch of adult men going,
we're not coming back.
We're not coming back. Like, we're done if you don't get rid of this ghost.
That's
like,
crazy.
It was. To find out he died, I was like,
yeah,
so weird.
So did you guys end up getting that project done then?
We got it done. We got it sold. So that was the first one we did. So we did real well on it. And we were like, so we were like, you know what? Like, what if we did like one of these? It took like 4 months.
Yeah.
He's like, I could have done faster. Like, this is our first one. And even the ones I did, none of them were this bad. We're like, everything has to come down to the studs. Everything.
Right.
People don't realize how much junk it is till you're loading it in trailers and hauling it off. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's so. He's like, I could do this in 3 months. Like, let's set a goal to start doing 4 a year. And like, that would just really change things for us. I was like, he goes, can you find these? I said, I just kind of find them. Like, I don't really look for them very hard. Like, I just kind of find them.
Yeah, you fall into them once in a while.
Yeah. And I said, so like, that's why I do like 1 or 2 a year. And it's been pretty good because I follow. So I was like, yeah, I can start looking and like marketing it and trying to do it. And so it was crazy. So our first year we did 10. Like, it turns out there's lots of these.
Yeah.
And so we keep some and rent some. We flip some. Kind of our strategy now. Like, we did 15 last year. We bought 15 last year. I think we had more than that the year before. What we've done now is we flip the ones that we can't build an ADU in the backyard.
Yep.
And so because the zoning's Yakima has already jumped on board with this new ADU zoning.
Yeah. And so explain.
So the zoning, Yakima's already done it. And it's coming as a statewide thing. Basically, all R1 zoning will become R2. So because of the housing shortage, so the city of Yakima is already letting you build ADUs. It has to be under 1,000 square feet. It has to have its own parking. You can't use on-street parking. So what we've done is we've been keeping properties that either have alley access or like on a corner. And then we're almost done with our first ADU. It'll be done like in a month. And so that's going to be, I mean, I think if you from a landlord standpoint, if you've got rental properties, like it's a not free unit, but you don't have to go buy land again.
Yeah. So you get, so the idea behind this particular plan is you buy a lot that has a house on it that's big enough that meets the requirements to put
the house doesn't, the ADU has to be 1,000 feet.
Okay.
And you have to have your setbacks all have to work.
Yeah.
So you actually kind of need a smaller house that's hopefully like to one side of the lot or the other.
Yeah.
And then we just build a fence between the two and build the ADU.
That makes sense.
So that's what we keep now is we keep anything we can build ADUs on. And if we can't build an ADU, we'll just flip it.
You just flip it and roll that money into
go find more.
To go find more.
Just keep things going. So that's been, and it's not in Union Gap yet, which I thought was strange, but the city of Yakima will let you do it. I don't think CeLa or anywhere will let you do it, but eventually all your R1 lots will become R2 lots. So
and the thought behind that is so they're allowing this just because there's such a shortage.
Yeah, it's to help solve the housing problem. Is that you can, hopefully, like, because we've got 10 to build, and we're done with the first one, so we'll be building them for a while. But that opens up. I mean, ours are all 2 and 1,000 square feet.
Yeah,
nice little. So it should provide. I mean, I don't know anyone else that's doing it. The only people I know that have built ADUs right now are building them like truly for their mom or a special needs child. Right. I don't know any other landlords doing it, but I think it's going to become
pretty popular.
It's like if you have 10 houses and half of them you can just build an ADU on.
Yeah, I mean you're pretty much able to double the investment, right? You're not going out and buying more land, or
you don't have to go buy more land. Yeah. You don't have to, So, and some of them, like our first one is actually a garage conversion. Well, you wired it.
Yeah.
So, that's actually a garage conversion, but so that's coming down for everybody. But I think it's gonna be really popular. Nice. Once it gets going, I think you're gonna see a lot more, especially as we're starting to see, like I said, anything on an alley or a corner where we can put parking in. That's what we're keeping, so that we can do that.
So I mean that's a great little plan, man. Is that just something that you guys kind of found some loopholes and
we just started working on it, and we bought a couple that had garages, and I knew that this rule was changing, and so we started just looking into like, hey, when is the rule changing? And we found out like the Yakima already changed. It's going to be a state thing. Everyone's going to have to do it in the next like 12 months. But so we just started looking into it, and then we realized like this isn't that bad. So then obviously the ones that are garage conversions are a little bit different, but the ones that are, once we get going, the ADU we'll just be building the same thing over and over.
Yeah, just a copy and paste kind of
this deal. Is, we'll just keep putting it on the next one. So it should get to be where it's a pretty quick thing where we know what we're doing. It's the same house. It's the same. So yeah, we just kind of stumbled upon it. We knew the rules changed. We started looking into it. We found out Yakima would let us do it now.
Right.
We had started kind of accumulating more and more rentals because, flipping's cool, but it doesn't, and it gets more like news traction, and everyone that's 25 wants to do it.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
but if you want to really build something long term, you got to have something. You got to keep stuff. It
Right.
also helps offset your taxes and do a bunch of stuff that way when you keep stuff. So, um, and that's been kind of a learning curve of how do you make sure you always balance what you sell and what you keep, and
Right. Right.
having a good accountant and keeping track of how you're doing it. It's not because you can't you can get killed on taxes out there.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
all you're doing is flipping.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you're not, I know some guys that are good flippers. And if you think about it though, like, unless you're investing in all that, which they're not, you're going to have to do this forever.
Yeah.
And it's it's fun, but I don't think I want to do it forever at a high level all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I might want to slow down and breathe.
Yeah. And I think if you have that mailbox money from the stuff that you guys are holding over
Exactly.
the years, I mean, that's how you get to that retirement point, right? To where you are kind of retiring on your own terms, right? Where it's like,
or you have the option and you've got some, because that's if Uriel was here, he'd tell you too, the real way to do it that people don't understand is, well, one, like I did, like I had a HELOC on my house, then I got a HELOC on the next house, and I got a HELOC on, that was one way to do it, because the cost of money will kill you too.
right.
Which the points and the interest rates are not, whatever you watch online, like that's expensive. Like, go have a bunch of payments on that sometime for a few months, and real quick you'll go, oh, I don't want this.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, like, just a little bit. So, I follow a handful of, podcasters and different guys on Instagram that are flipping houses, and they do real estate stuff. And you hear some of those guys, talk about, oh, just go get a hard money loan to get into the deal. So they're constantly, some of these guys are, don't use your own money, take all these different loans, max out credit to do it. And I mean, for me, I don't think that's the play. I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, obviously you have to borrow some money when you're doing it on a big level like you, but like, let's talk to like that entry level guy that is like thinking about either buying his first home or getting into his first flip. Like, what does that look like from a financial standpoint? Like, if you're that guy in those shoes,
what I would do would be go buy, and it's easy to find these, a house that needs paint and flooring. If it needs a new roof, you'll even get a better deal. But nothing, like, you don't need to buy one that's like the ones we buy are like falling down and have not structurally you're good.
Yeah.
And get it cleaned up, because you don't want to give yourself crippling anxiety, because that will happen anyways eventually. Get it cleaned up, get yourself a line of credit on it. Maybe rent it and move and do it again.
Yeah.
Maybe get yourself I think in retrospect, that's one of the things I did right, was I got a line of credit. But also, I think what's missed is, Uriel would agree with me, is you have to save, because even though we borrow a lot, we have a lot saved.
Yeah.
And sometimes we probably could fund them ourselves, but we just keep it in savings and we borrow the money because it's nice to have the money available if you need it and not have to borrow it.
Absolutely.
And to keep, 3 to 6 months worth of savings, because like there's 100% chance something's going wrong. Like, don't even worry about that. Like, we still are wrong all the time on things, and we'll get into a project and go, oh, this house doesn't have a foundation. Oh, this house, because you've got to make decisions with partial information. You don't have a lot of, you're going to walk through it one time and you have to make a decision on a bunch of stuff you can't see. I know people that do it the just hard money loan amount, but they're paying so much. So you're going to pay points, which a point is 1% of the loan amount.
Yeah.
And you're going to get people that, are paying 4, 5, 6, 10 points. So if you're paying 10 points on a $400,000 loan, that's $40,000 you have to come up with.
Yeah. On top of interest.
On top of that. And some of them will let you pay that $40,000 at the end. but that bill's still coming due. Like they'll let you pay it when you sell it, but then, so maybe, I mean, 10 points is a lot of points, but maybe you say paying 5, which is still kind of a lot, but you see that a lot. A lot of people pay 5 points. So 5 points is what, 20 grand on that you're going to pay at the end. But then you also might be paying, I mean, some people on these hard money loans, you're paying 15% interest or something.
Yeah. And are those do those interest payments typically start like right away?
Some of them will delay them a couple months for you, but like, you know, are you prepared to, and we don't pay that much for it, but are you prepared? Like if it's your, you know, if it's your first one, you better not be wrong. You know what I mean? Like my first one took 2 years. If I'd had a hard money loan, they would have foreclosed on it. They wouldn't give me that much time.
Absolutely.
But because I had a loan from a family member and my own line of credit, I could talk to people. Because that's the other part. This hard money lender's not going to care.
Right.
And he's going to foreclose on you. And he's not going to care that you're halfway done.
I mean, I feel like some of these hard money deals are predatory. And what I mean by that is they almost hope that you fail, right? Like they almost hope that you fail, because then they come in and they can take the property.
And they already have a bunch of your money and you have it halfway done.
Exactly.
And I guess from that standpoint too, we fund all our own repairs. So even if we borrow 100% to buy it, we self-fund all our repairs. We don't, and so that's the other part. So if you borrow 100 grand to buy the house and 100 grand to rehab it, like, and you get a problem, you know, and you're not quite done. What if you're wrong on the budget? Right.
Absolutely.
Because you're wrong all the time.
Yeah.
You know, whatever I think the budget is, I had 50% and it still has to make sense then. And you hit that 50% margin of error all the time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, good thing I factored that in, because we got into it and realized like, oh, the whole thing needs replumbed. Like this isn't an option.
Yeah. So break that down like a little simpler. So like when you look at the numbers, like in the beginning of a deal, right? Like let's say you're looking at a hoarder house, it's going to cost you 100 grand. Like, what do those margins look like for you to say, okay, this could be a good deal? Like you're like, just kind of lay that out.
So if a house, let's say the house they wanted 100 grand and it was going to have 100 grand of rehab.
Yep.
That was the number we came up with. So we're at 200. I would assume I'm going to be 50% wrong. And it's going to cost 150, which if it costs 150, you kind of screwed up. Like you're
but you're throwing 50% buffer in
there to make sure, because you hit that number all the time.
Right.
Like
so now with your buffer, so we're calling this 250.
So then like you better be able to sell that for 350.
Absolutely.
And if you think about it as like every deal, when I look at it at the beginning, needs to look like a home run.
Yeah.
And maybe 20% of them actually are home runs. You're hitting a lot of singles. You're hitting a lot of doubles. You're hitting a lot of that was a lot of work for $5,000, man. I mean, we did one 2 years ago where it was just like, we thought it was super simple. And then it just kept being one little thing. And it just all of a sudden you're like, what do you mean we have to replace this? Like we've replaced all, I thought we weren't going to have to do the windows. We got to do the windows. Then we had to, I hate buying roofs. They don't add any value. You have to have a roof. But he got up there and was like, bro, we're going to. And it's so you get down and you're like, we made $5,000. That was not a good use.
Yeah, but you made $5 grand on it, and you're fighting to get into another deal.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to sell it. You're going to move on. You're going to get into the next deal.
But they should all look like home runs when you buy.
Absolutely.
If people go, hey, I'm going to buy it for 100. I'm going to be 80 into it. So we'll make that 100, 120, so now you're 220, and they're like, hey, I'm going to sell it though for 275. Like that's not
there's not enough error.
Yeah. If you're wrong, and you're probably going to be wrong. I mean, we've gotten better, right? We're not as wrong, but we did once where we were 10 grand over budget an hour in. Euro went out to look to it. He goes, Brad, fuck, we got to resheet and redo the whole roof. And I was like, there's no way to save it. And he's like, no. Because we're not climbing up in the attic. We just walk through a house once and have to make a decision. So you have to leave this giant buffer that is nothing comes in on budget.
Yeah.
And you'd have to know that. It's just, and then because the other thing that you have to think about when you're doing your first one is you're going to have these payments on a HELOC or a line of credit or to whoever loans it to you, that you have to make no matter what. And it can get stressful. You
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
real quick, if you have, I know a guy that does it off big hard money loans, and I'm like, but I couldn't live like you do. Like, do you don't want to throw up every day? Because I mean, the other thing, if you want some advice that where I see people screw themselves all the time is the house is 100. They're going to put 50 into it. Maybe the math even works. So they calculate the 175, which this is my theory on it. This is just,
this is
I didn't read this in a book.
Yeah.
Like, this is just what I've noticed. He's like, I'm 100, I'm at 50. Let's calculate 75. It'll sell for 270. Like, the margin's there. But then what they do is they go get the loan. So they're all in was what, 275?
Yeah.
They go get the loan for 300 right now, and they live on it. Oof. And I'm like, man, you better pray nothing goes wrong, because at the end, like the one where we made $5,000, if we had been doing that,
you'd be bankrupt.
You'd have to bring cash to close, and you don't have any.
Yeah.
And when you're new, you've got a lot in, versus like if something went wrong now, it sucks, but we could go, like we had one that we were going to keep in rent, and it doesn't quite cash flow. Like we lose like $35 a month.
Yeah.
Because we got into it. There was a bunch of problems we didn't anticipate, but like, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. We're going to lose $35 a month. When the next tenant moves, or the next time the lease is up, we'll raise it $35. Right. And then it'll at least break even. Also, we're going to depreciate and take advantage of all the tax advantages on it right now.
Right.
And we're going to build the ADU that will help that. Like, over time, the nice part with real estate, it'll fix itself. But if you're a new investor, you don't have that option to, like, you might not have the credit score and the finances to call the bank and be like, hey, I'll just refi. Yeah. Sure, I'm going to lose a little bit. And so if you're and I got in a really bad pinch, right, we could have one that loses $200 a month and go,
you can absorb it.
We could absorb it.
But the guy who's doing one and who's trying to flip for a chunk of money,
he can't absorb
he can't absorb that. And so his deal turned into a loser.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden he's got a problem, because say you got done and, you know, what are you going to do? Sell it and lose $20,000 and take out of pocket? You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So like, if that happened to us, we'd just refinance into a rental. We'd lose a little bit. It'd fix itself over time. You know, we'd look our rooms, you know, because you're going to be wrong. Like, that's the part, is you're going to be wrong all the time. Like, we had one last week that it was a rental. It's been such a nightmare. Because there's just way more, because we didn't know that I think we're gonna have to replace the whole sewer line. And like, there's no way to know that until you bought it. Until
you get into it.
The tenant lives there, and we cleaned it up, and the tenant moved in, and all of a sudden you're like, what do you mean it's not dry? And then you go get it scrubbed, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
and those things happen all the time.
And if it's a rental, you can't do anything.
Yeah. You have to fix it.
You have to fix it. You have to fix it now.
Yeah.
All right. We let the tenant out of the lease even, because they were all upset. We're like, hey, if you want to move out, like, this is going to take us a minute. Like,
right.
We'll let you out of your lease. We'll give you your deposit back. Like, and so like those first ones, you need to be very careful to like make sure that I can pay my family member back. Make sure like that HELOC payment, like, hey, I can absorb those.
Right.
Like, because it was 2 years of making that. Like, that was not a fun, having an extra, I don't know what it was, $1,000 a month in payments or whatever it was, is not a fun, like, you can do a lot of things with $1,000 a month.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's way cooler than having a nightmare project that you can't get done, because that, you know, the carrying cost is it's a quiet cost. A lot of people don't realize that, like, you know, you've got these points you're paying, the payments you're paying on the loan, like, these are chewing up your profit every time. Like, every day it's not done, you made less. Yeah. And you're not, and it just ticks. And so and I've seen people too, just like speeds, you have to get in quick, you have to evaluate it quick, you have to write your offer quick, and you need to get back out of it quickly. Because time's there has to be a sense of urgency, right? Like, everything's got to be done. You got to go. It's time to go. As fast as we can. We can't, like, and when something breaks, or you have to, you know, whatever it is, you're on a failed septic tank, like, you can't sit there and cry about it. Like, you just got to go. And that's you know, like, you can't, Like, okay, well, because you're calling me like, hey, I forgot to tell you last week this happened. I mean, there was no reason to call you because what are we going to do? Not replace
Yeah,
the
we
sewer
got it. We
line?
got to do
Like,
it. Yeah,
or I'll be like, hey, when did that happen? He goes, oh, like 2 weeks ago. I forgot to tell you because like we can't not
yeah,
do it. And so this people have to keep that in mind that like it's not like what you watched on YouTube. A lot of those guys, like you're saying, are very predatory. We're like, what are you doing? This is
absolutely.
not, you are filling kids' heads with ideas that don't make sense.
Yeah,
Like this,
yeah,
what you're doing is a very hard thing to do that you're doing with 70% of the information. So you're going to be 30% wrong. And again, they all seem like home runs when we bid them, but only probably 20% of them are home runs when we're done.
right.
And so you're hitting a lot of singles and doubles and going, okay, well, that didn't work out like I thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking, and then
Yeah.
you go, and then you're smarter next time. I mean, that's the part, right? Like you win or you learn, and you go, okay, I know now.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, kind of the way that I got into one of my first investment properties was the first house that I bought. I lived in it for a few years. I
Mhm.
lived in it for 5 years, made improvements. Did
Yeah,
basic things. I gained all that equity. When I sold it, I made a good chunk of money, and I was able to roll that into some
and that's
investments.
and that's the way to start. Like it's
Yeah.
not like the compound interest curve, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
The what people don't realize is like if you start on it, you're going like this. And what the problem is you're like, I've been doing this for like what 13, 14 years now. Like this was the first ones were awful. This
Yeah.
whole part was terrible and
Yeah.
everything went wrong. And now and the problem is you only see the people that are starting to do pretty good and you don't realize
Right.
like how many people didn't make it out of that
Yeah, I
mess.
mean, well, as we have this conversation, like I kind of think back to, the flippers that I've done business with over
Mhm.
the years. And man, there's a bunch of them that aren't around anymore.
Yeah,
It's like there's a bunch of them that were doing it. They did a couple, and then it's like they got caught up in a bad deal, and then they were done.
yeah. And that's, being aware, you make all your money when you buy it. Like that's where the real magic is. Because if you buy it cheap enough, well, I tell people, we bought a property for $40,000. I didn't go look at it. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just going to assume that I'm going to have to tear this down. It's on a city lot in Yakima. I'll pay you $40,000 for it. Like, I'll, I mean, I drove by. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, we're good. So if you buy anything cheap enough, it doesn't matter what you do with it.
absolutely.
So people have to remember that, like and then you can't be scared. Like I wrote an offer yesterday. I got a text back that said, we're not taking that. I said, well, call me if you change your mind. Like you can't, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work and leave it alone.
Yeah, and you have to be able to like separate your feelings from that, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to look at these deals like solely based on the numbers, right? Like, hey, if XYZ goes wrong, then I can still get it for this cheap. And then if I can blow
Yeah.
through this budget and still make money, then maybe it makes sense, right?
And then as you do more, like this one was a manufactured home. We've done enough manufactured homes outside. I was like, I know how much these cost. I can be very accurate on these.
Yeah.
Or like there's some different parts of town where like, hey, this house is exactly like one we did. I know how much this one costs.
Right.
But we also screwed up a bunch of them first to go, that cost more than I thought it would.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about and kind of one of the last things I want to talk to you about is like how you've built your business, right? And so I see you on all the socials all the time. You always have pop-ups where you're doing stuff in the communities, with you have Santa out, you do different stuff at different coffee bars. Like your background in marketing? Like did you go to college for marketing?
I went to Central. It's a long story how I spent 7 years in college. Different podcast. But my degree is in sales management, so it's a lot of marketing and advertising classes. And then after that, I sold radio ads for 11 years. So
Yeah.
I would write them and sell them to clients and then do promotion. So a lot of it just comes from having a background in sales and marketing and advertising and making sure, we get in front of people. We
The brand recgnation,
the brand
face
recognition,
face recognition.
people are used to seeing us and
Yeah.
talking to us because people do, people work with people they know, like, and trust. So you just got to make sure that people like, hey, we're here, we're doing stuff, we're meeting people, we're buying, what are we buying next week? Pizza, I think, next week.
Yeah.
So we're going to be at Magic's doing pizza. We do the Santa thing before the Sela parade. We're going to do an Easter egg hunt this year. But yeah, so that's kind of where the background and all that came from. I mean, we run ads buying gross houses.
Yeah.
We built our own ghetto billboard and put it in Uriel's parking lot. And we got a call the second day.
Really?
I was like, hey, where'd you get this phone number from? And he goes, I don't know. It's on top of this van. We built it and put it on top of a van, a broken van in his parking lot. And he's like, I don't know. It's just on top of a van in the parking lot on Nob Hill. And I was like, no shit. Like,
That's funny, man.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't anticipate that. So it's just really get in front of people because you don't know when they're going to buy or sell their personal residence or you know, like I said, inherit a house. You know, some of these people we meet inherited the house a year ago and we're like, I don't know what you do with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's not something you like prepare for of like, hey, my mom was a hoarder and it didn't occur to me that like I have to do something with this now.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't want to like, you know, this
Yeah.
is above anything I want to deal with. It was actually cool. We just listed one down on 4th and Union Gap. And I got an email from the guy we bought it from that said, thank you so much. My mom's house looks beautiful. Like, it was so cool to see like that a family's going to go get to live in that now. And
Yeah.
so it is nice to like, you know, we really are like creating places for people to live. You know, that's one of our things too. A lot of flippers try to do it as cheap as humanly possible. And you can tell, like, I have a pet peeve with unlevel floors. Like, I'll come out of my skin
Yeah.
if floors are like, I just think even if it's not a structural thing that makes you wonder, like, that's not doing good work.
Right.
We could save money and not finish them as nice as we do. But one, I have to sleep at night and I like doing a good job. But two, it's actually really helped to have a reputation of doing good work because like realtors, when they show ours, like we've gone back and fixed things that we didn't know were broken after it closed because we're like, well, I'm not gonna like, we didn't know that the tub didn't drain right because we never really filled it. Like we turned it on, oh, it drains. But if you filled it up, it had a problem. And we've done some stuff like that because I think it helps that like I've had 2 inspectors now call me and go, I've inspected multiple of your properties. I want to tell you, like, you guys do a good job. You guys don't.
That's a big deal.
It is.
That's a big deal.
And I think it matters because I want people to look at them and know, like, hey, if we missed something, we honestly missed it. We weren't trying to cut any corners.
You're not out there trying to cut corners and just put
whatever's the cheapest, get it done. So, and I think it helps them sell faster. I mean, one of our things is whatever price point we're in, we try to be the nicest house in that price point. So if you walk in, you go, oh, this is the nicest one I've looked at.
Yeah.
And so it costs a little bit more and you make a little bit less, but I think you make up for it and like you feel better about yourself, but also you're gonna, you know, they're gonna sell faster, they're gonna sell easier.
Well, and reputation too,
exactly,
right?
and reputation.
Yeah.
Goes, hey, I know what you're doing. And you know, that's helped a lot, I think, where like other realtors will call like, hey, you got anything coming up? Like, and you're like, you know, and then they sell well, we listed one this week. What was it, Monday? And I think we'll have an offer this week. But the last one we had listed, we had a full price offer the second day.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's what you want people to go, hey, I know who did that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They did a good job.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you guys have, I mean, you personally, you know, with your team, I mean, you are kind of one of the big movers in the Valley, right? As far as real estate.
We're the second biggest team by houses sold. You know, my agents, we're smaller by like a fourth by the biggest team. So, but our agents sell a lot more houses each than like the bigger teams. Because I don't want to work with anyone I don't want to work with.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just not, you know, I've had suggest like, you know, you could hire them. And I was like, I just only want to work with people I like. So I don't want to get
and there's something to be said about that, right?
There's plenty of houses. We're okay. And it's been really cool to watch some of these agents, like I said at the beginning, like, oh, I've never made this much money before. Like, hey, can you help me invest? Hey, I'm looking at a rental property. Hey, can you come look at this? Like,
Dude, and that feels so good when you see your employees or your team members kind
Yeah.
of making those big life moves,
Yeah.
right? Like they're buying their first house or they're buying that first brand new car.
Mm-hmm.
And like as an employer, like you
It's
genuinely get to
cool.
be a part of that. Like you help them get there.
Well, one of the guys on the team, like I've looked at a couple of his, keep trying to buy his first rental property. And so it's been cool. Like, I'll go look with you anytime. You let me
Yeah.
know. And he
Yeah.
calls, okay, I've been in this one. And it's, and so it's been fun. And it's been fun to watch them all do well and kind of, get excited about it and get to be able to take vacations they couldn't have taken otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just a lot of it, like have a lot of confidence in themselves to be like, oh, I can do this. Like, I get it. Like, and I got a lot of support if something goes wrong that like,
Yeah.
because sometimes it happens to you too. I'm sure you're like, God damn it, can something just go right today? And I always have to remind myself, like, it's because if there's a problem no one else knows how to solve, it comes to me.
Yeah,
Like, I'm where
absolutely.
like you're like,
Yeah.
can someone just not call me with a problem today? Call me with good news. Tell
Yeah.
me something good that happened.
Yeah.
And so, and that happens. And you just remind yourself, like, that's what I'm here for is
Yep.
like, when you're like, hey, I'm in over my head or this happened and it's cool to watch some of them, something happens, they learn from it. We figure out a solution. And the next time it happens, you hear them on the phone going, oh, so what we can do is, and you're like, there we go.
Yeah.
You're a little bit better. So it's
Yeah.
fun. It's cool to see that. But yeah, we sold 163 houses last year. So we're busy.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
3 a week. It's kind of wild. Like,
Yeah.
the first time I sold 1 a week by myself, I was like, I am so good at this.
Right.
And then the team got where we did 2 a week. And I was like, guys, that's pretty awesome. But last year he had 3 a week. And I was like, that's amazing that we can,
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
have 3 closings a week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
What's we're gonna wrap up here shortly, but what's some advice that you could give? I mean, obviously you've been giving advice this whole time on real estate stuff, but like talking on a personal level to maybe some of the younger people that are listening or tuning in, like what are some of the things that you do, personally to get where you've gotten? I mean, obviously, you're what, 42?
I just turned 43.
So you're crushing it in life, man. Like you got all these investments going, you got a business, you've built a fabulous life for yourself. Like, what are some of those key things that you've done personally to kind of get yourself to this point?
I think you got to save. You got to save your money because a rainy day is going to happen. And sometimes you just got to survive it. Sometimes it's not happening so you can invest it. It's happening so you can survive that rainy day that's going to kill some people. And then be patient. There's a couple realtors that are younger that I talk to that I'm like, hey man, you're 22. I'm 43. Stop trying to do what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
Like
It takes time.
You bought your first house at 22. Do you know how awesome that is?
Yeah.
Because I helped him find it because it was one I was passing on. I was like, hey man, here's a phone number of a guy. I'm not going to buy it for me, but like for someone like you, it's perfect. And so he bought it. He's like, okay, so next year I'm going to buy 2. I was like, no, don't buy 2 next year. Get this one cleaned up. Buy 1 maybe. Just be patient. Be patient. And it sucks, but to be patient. Nobody wants to be patient, but certain things just take time.
Absolutely.
You just got to be patient. And then I listen to books now. I don't read them as often. Like if you can listen to any books, and I try to just get one thing out of them. If I get one good thing out of a book, like that was phenomenally good use of my time. And you'll be surprised all of a sudden you start lining up concepts that maybe, you read this one, you get one thing, you read this one, you get one thing. And all of a sudden, like I put those together, that's it, and especially because when you read a book, you're always in a different place in your life or different. I mean, you can even reread the same books,
Absolutely.
and so read books, pick up little things. They don't have to be real estate books. They can be on anything a lot of times. And then I think just being around good people like that are trying to it's hard when you start, but as you start doing it more, we'll start being around more quality people they don't have to be doing the same thing as you, but have everyone I know that's doing well has kind of a similar way they think about how the world works.
A common mindset.
Like start being around more people like that, because
Yeah.
it really does make a difference when you're reading things, you're learning things. They'll tell you things that they read what they're reading. Like if you don't know what to read, go ask somebody. Just like, hey, what do you read? And ask them, what are you listening to? What are you reading?
Absolutely.
Because they'll tell you, and a lot of them want to tell. Like I like it when people have good questions, and like, hey, what do you know? What do you know? My team started a book club that they wanted to do. So we read a book together and we take turns being the person that runs it. So like, it just got to be my turn finally. So I was like, oh, I have to take a turn. I thought you guys were taking turns. I have to. They're like, yeah, you have to pick a book you like. And then they're like, and you can't pick Win Friends and Influence People because you already make all of us read that when you join the team. And I was like, that was the book I was going to pick. They're like, we know. We knew you would pick that, so you have to pick a different one.
That's funny.
So, so I think I'm picking, what is it, Same as Ever, which is a good book. But yeah, read things, be patient, save your money, and just be around people that are, like I said, like-minded.
Like-minded, yeah.
Yeah, because you'll be like, when Lisa said, like, you and Uriel are a lot alike. I think it was kind of interesting because I was still working at the radio station doing real estate, and he was the regional loss prevention manager for Roth's clothing store, and had started part-time being a contractor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Like she was right. We were much more similar. It's been really fun because we were kind of at the same place in life,
Right.
where we were trying to get this other thing going, and it took off. And then what really took off was our business together took off too, because we're both taking off, and and we're thinking the same things, we're trying to do the same things, we're trying to, and then it's a good partnership too, because we do different things. Like,
right,
you don't need 2 realtors, you don't need 2 contractors.
Yeah, but if you have a realtor finding the deals and you have a contractor that's kind of boots on the ground, like
checking it, getting pricing, make sure we stay on schedule.
Absolutely,
because that was one of the things that will kill you, and that's one of the things that makes it nice, is because it's his employees. So like, they have to be there.
Right.
We've all had experiences where tracking down a contractor is a nightmare, and you're like, I'm just trying to be done. Like, versus, he's like, he'll be like, one year I was like, you have them working on Easter? I said, I told them it better be done on Monday. And I don't care how much overtime everyone gets. On Monday morning, I will be there, and this better be done. And I was like, well, they are all out there today on Easter. So
yeah, so
that's my advice. If you're, just be patient, be around good people, save your money.
Yeah,
read books.
I mean, that's such good advice. I mean, especially being patient, guys. I mean, that's that's in any career, right? That's in the trades, that's in, a white collar career. I mean, you have to be willing to be patient. And the instant gratification thing it's so unrealistic, right?
It is.
It's like you got to put your time in, you got to learn it inside it out. You got to be the best at what you're trying to do, right? And when you get to that point, like, the rewards will start to come.
The rewards just come, and the work comes first, and the learning comes first.
Yes.
And nobody wants that part. That part sucks.
That's the monotonous grind. For me, that was a 10-year process.
Yeah, it is. It's I forget who said it. It was one celebrity that said it took me 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
Everyone congratulates me now, and I'm like, you don't know the hell I've lived in.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, because even my son said once, he goes, Dad, why do you always call him about this? I was like, man, I've kind of seen every problem.
I've seen it. Yeah.
I have enough savings that I can eat a really big mistake right now. And so I don't have to. It is what it is, and we're going to work through it, or we're not. But me being worked up about it, like, I don't know, we're going to, okay, we're buying a septic tank. That's awesome. That's not what I wanted to pay for today, but
it happens.
Or I bought 3 furnaces last year. I was like, you can't fix it at all. Like, are you sure you can't fix it? Like, Brad, we have fixed this thing. And when the third one happened, I was like, this can't, but it is what it is. Like, you can't.
Yeah. And you just navigate through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took me 10 years of, grinding in the trade to get to a point where, I felt like I knew the trade in and out, right? Like, hey, like, I'm a badass electrician. Like, I could go out and do it on my own, and I don't have to call XYZ for help. Like, but it takes time, guys. And like, if you realize that if you put a plan in place, and whether that's a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, whatever that looks like, but if you put a plan in place and you follow it to a T, right? You learn all the things, you read the books, you get tuned up on it, you do the research. If you execute that plan, like, you can do big things.
Yeah. And it's not going to go like you think it goes. That's like, it's not a straight line. It's things are going to happen. You're going to have have a plan, but also know the plan's not going to work.
Absolutely.
And it's going to go better because if you don't stay too locked, it's a general direction you want to go.
Yes.
That was my advice. I said, Clayton, just pick a general, don't get too narrow on it. Cause I think some people get this is exactly how it has to work.
Right.
That's not how it'll work. Just go in a general direction, have a plan, an idea of where you want to end up, and just kind of go that way.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's great advice.
Cool.
All right, Brad. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
All right. Thank you.
It was awesome.
All right. Good one.